Yahawahs Great Tribulation. Yahawah's Great Tribulation. Jacob's trouble, Great Tribulation. It's all ordained by Yahawah. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. It's going to be a time like no other. It's going to be all type of judgment going out, all type of destruction, hollering, pain, blood, war, famine, pestilence, screaming. It's all judgment from Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashai. And it's designated for the wicked and the 2/3. The elect, according to Psalms 91, will be covered by the angels, will be covered by the Holy Spirit or the Rakah Kadash. You're going to see some spiritual intervention. Once again, you're going to see angels on the scene. Once again, you're going to see spiritual things happening. Once again, during this period, certain men are going to get spiritual power. Certain men are going to get spiritual power. Great Tribulation, Jacob's trouble. It's called Jacob's trouble, Israel's trouble, but it's going to be the world's trouble. Edomites are going to get it. Moabites are going to get it. Ammonites are going to get it. Hamites are going to get it. Japhites are going to get it. Ishmaelites are going to get it. Elamites are going to get it. Everybody's going to get it. But you know, the poor takes they take the bad end of the stick more than anybody else, right? And what nation is, for the most part, poor, impoverished, which is all according to prophecy. In Deuteronomy 28, the prophecies, the curses. So that's why it's Jacob's trouble, because they're going to get the short end of the stick more than any other nation, because the poor always gets it the worst. The rich and the famous and the well-to-do, they can run off into their bunkers. Run off into their bunkers, run off into their little houses in the mountains. They can get out of Dodge, right? But even then, Yahawah is going to get them, because nobody gets away scot-free. You can't run from God, idiot. You can't run from Yahawah, idiots. For the very hairs on your head are numbered. For Yahawah has numbered the stars, and he knows them all by name. For the very hairs on your head are numbered. Yeah, and he also numbers and names the stars. How the hell can you run from somebody with such power like that? Do you know how many hairs is on your head? Do you know how many stars is in the sky? And if you think I'm playing, let's just bring the prophecy out for truth's sake. Let's grab that. For the very hairs on your head are numbered. For the very hairs on your head are numbered. And that's prophecy. That's the Bible. That is Matthew. So more than likely, Yahawashai was stating this, who you call Jesus. He was telling everybody during his ministry the power of Yahawah, the power of the Father, who they ignorantly call God, Yahawah. It says, but the very hairs on your head are numbered. Matthew chapter 10, verse 30. So everybody that's run into their bunkers, everybody that's run into their underground cities, everybody that's run into their houses in the mountains, you can't run, buddy. You cannot run. Let's grab the stars. Even the stars are numbered and named. The stars are numbered and named by God or Yahawah. Psalms 147 verse 4. It says he tells the number of the stars. You see how many stars is in the sky? Trillions of stars. He also calls them by their names. And that's Psalms 147 verse 4. So here you have a power that can count the numbers of follicles on your skull. And then he can count the number of stars. Not only count the number of stars, but also give them a name. That's just too much power. That's power that you can't fathom. So I only brought those prophecies up, or those scriptures up, precepts up, to show you the power that you're messing with, the power that you're dealing with. So all of you, you wicked Edomites, you Rothschilds, you Rockefellers, you DuPonts, Oppenheimers, Henry Kissingers, George Soros, you damn wicked bankers, deep state, the wicked politicians. You cannot run from who you call God. Yahawah. He exists, the eternal one. Nobody gets away scot-free. Nobody gets away scot-free. And that's just the point. But let's carry on. 2nd Esdras, chapter 9. Great Tribulation. Jacob's trouble. The destruction of Babylon. Because that's what this is. That's what these prophecies are. You have to have the destruction and eradication of Babylon so the restoration of Zion can be restored on the earth. For Esau is the end of the world, but Jacob is the beginning that followeth. 2nd Esdras 9. It says, he answered me then, and this is, let me figure out what angel was talking to Prophet Ezra. It's either Raphael or Gabriel, but I believe it's Raphael. It says, which archangel is talking to Prophet Ezra? Which archangel is talking to Prophet Ezra in the Apocrypha? I think it's Raphael. Oh, it's Uriel. Wow. It's Uriel. How about that? I stand corrected then. It was Archangel, but it wasn't Raphael nor Gabriel. It was Uriel. So Uriel is talking to Ezra and these in the 1st and 2nd Esdras. It says 2nd Esdras 4:1. It says, and the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel, gave me an answer. So Yahawah is giving Prophet Ezra through the angel Uriel all of the download of today. When you match everything up, Ezra was given the prophecies of this time period right here. And so let's bring it out. 2nd Esdras 9, it says that he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I've told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time where Yahweh will begin to visit the world which he made. So how does Yahweh visit the world? Earthquakes. This is just the wicked side, or the judgment side, I should say. The left-hand side, I should say. Earthquakes, tornadoes, thunderstorms, murder, sword, famine, pestilence, violence. That's how he visited the world, which he made on the left-hand side. Now, how does he visit the world that he made on the right-hand side? The prophets, teachers, scholars of the Bible, of the truth, as you see us doing now. You see the word going out, going forth, informing everybody. You see, you see people with good health, prosperity. You see people, just think of all of the righteous things that you can think of in life. That's Yahweh visiting the world, which he made on the right-hand side. You see the angels bringing out the messages, rather. The word going forth, prophecy being fulfilled. That is Yahweh visiting the world which he made on the right-hand side. Remember, there's always two sides, the left, the right, up, down, the yin and yang. Moab is big on that, the yin and the yang, up and down, skinny and fat, tall and short, dark and light. So that is how Yahweh visits the world that he made, which is this world here. It says, therefore, when there should be seen, but this is touching more so on the left-hand side. This is therefore when there should be seen earthquakes, uproars of the people in the world, then shall you well understand that Yahweh has spoke of these things from the days that were before you, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of Yahweh have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. And that's what you see right now. You see this energy crisis. You see the food crisis, war, Iran, America, Israel, Russia, Ukraine, and everybody else that's going to eventually jump in this war, because it's prophesied. World War III is prophesied. And the destruction of Babylon falling, the mark of the beast being implemented. All of this stuff is prophecy. It says, and everyone that should be saved and shall escape everything that I just mentioned by his works and by faith. So that's how you're going to get up out of here, by works, faith, and endurance, whereby ye have believed. It says, shall be preserved from the sad perils, and shall see my salvation in my land within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways. All of those women that's going to be catching hell, and those men that's going to be catching hell, Israelites, 2/3, and heathens. You're going to be catching hell during Jacob's trouble. You're going to be catching hell during the Great Tribulation. For as such in their life have received benefits and have not known me. I mean, the word is really for Jacob. It says, and they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty. That means a time of grace. Like right now, this is a grace period that's slowly running out. And when there's yet a place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain. You want to steady get drunk, drink, want to steady smoke weed, cigarettes. You want to steady fornicate. You want to steady commit adultery. You want to steady go out clubbing and getting drunk, fornicating, commit adultery. You want to steady and do the secret things that you do in the dark when you're by yourself, when you think nobody's looking. You want to rob. You want to steal. You want to kill senselessly for no reason. You want to just be wicked and do wickedly. The same must know it after death by pain. 2nd Esdras 9, verse 12. That's what's coming during Jacob's trouble and during great tribulation. But the election will be saved and brought through it by the grace and power and the anointing and the Holy Spirit, the Rakach Kadash, and the angels of Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi. We're going to be guided through this roller coaster. Yahweh willing, I'll be part of that number, and the rest of the men that sigh and cry and understand this knowledge be a part of that number. Let's move it right along. Let's move it right along. Let's move it right along. 2nd Esdras. We can go to 6 too, because I don't really go into 6 like that, the 6th chapter, but let's go into it. 2nd Esdras 6:9, for Esau is the end of the world, and that's what you see right now playing in front of you. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Verse 20, it says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish, you see the world vanishing right now before your eyes. Iran. It's funny that their name is Iran. You know I'm a wordsmith, a word bender. You know one of my talents is writing, music, and just poetry and just writing anyway. But for them to be named Iran, they sure ain't running. They sure ain't running. For them to be Iran, none of them are running. He already said he got 1 million Iranians locked and loaded. They're waiting on the eagle to touch down. And you should know who the eagle is. You should know who the eagle is, America. But, Donald Trump said he's going to send 20,000 eagles. Blue blood Americans. He's going to send 20,000 paratroopers, boots on the ground. They're going to invade Iran. Well, we're going to see how this thing goes. Let's see if America still has her swagger. 2nd Esdras 6:20, but those Iranians, Iran is not running at all. For them to be named Iran, ain't nobody running, right? 2nd Esdras 6:20, it says, and when the word or the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens, which is prophecies. The book shall be opened before the firmament, which is happening right now, and they shall see all together prophecies, things taking their action on the earth. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Famine. It says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hears, they shall be suddenly afraid. Yeah, that's going to be the destruction is going to take place in these cities, all throughout Babylon and all throughout the rest of the world too. It says, at that time shall friends fight one another like enemies. I mean, friends already do that anyway. So just imagine when everything collapses. It says, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. It says, the springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remains from all of these that I have told you shall escape, and that's going to be the elect men, the 144,000, and the rest of the elect. It says, and see my salvation and the end of your world. See, Uriel through Yahawah was given Ezra the prophecies of right now. Of right now. That's deep right there. Let's get into it. 2nd Esdras 15. It says, behold, said Yahawah, I will bring plagues upon the world. The sword, which is war. America, Israel, Iran, Russia, China, North Korea. World War III. It says famine. You see the farmers going through energy crisis. They don't have the resources that they need to continue doing what they need to do to produce the food. This is how these cities and storehouses get filled with food, through the farmers. It says death and destruction. It says, for wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. You see that every day. Every day you see that. It says, and their hateful works are fulfilled. It says, therefore says Yahawah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. So Yahawah, he just like a parent, man, getting tired of the child acting up in school or just acting up in general. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cries unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Yeah, we do every day. I hate waking up here. Every day. Every day I wake up, I hate this place. Every day. And then I hate ignorant, stupid people that just don't get it. It says, the souls of the just complain continually. It says, and therefore says Yahawah, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. It says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, and I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand. And this is the second Egypt, Babylon. America is the second Egypt. If you didn't know, now you know. America is the spiritual Egypt. Lock. It tells you that right in the Apocrypha. He's gonna well, it don't tell you. It doesn't tell you it like specifically. You gotta be a man of the Lord, of Yahawah, and filter out the filter out the correlation. That's what makes us prophets, spiritual men, because we understand what's being told, what's being written. But it says on the next chapter, it tells you, or in this chapter, it says he's going to bring the plagues on Egypt as he did before. That's 2 Egypts. We know the first Egypt was with Moses, Aaron, Miriam, and the Israelites. He's going to bring plagues on the Egypt, on Egypt as he did before. So that's 2 Egypts. That's 2 Egypts for all of you. Idiots. And then remember, in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, it says that I will bring thee into Egypt again by ships. The old Egypt, you don't need ships. You don't need ships to go into the old Egypt, the first Egypt. You can walk into Egypt. That lets you know that this place is the second Egypt. And how did we get here? Through ships, transatlantic slave trade. Ding, 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 ding. secrets and the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, the tokens that were spoken of. In 2nd Esdras 15, it says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm and smite Egypt with the plagues as before. There it is, right? It was at the bottom, verse 11. It says, verse 10, it says, behold, my people is led as a flock into the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. That's two Egypts, as I was just stating earlier. That's two Egypts. It says the old Egypt, and this is the new Egypt, which, bondage. It says, and will destroy all the land thereof. It says, Egypt shall mourn. Egypt right now, in this verse, in this chapter, in this verse, is America. I just gave you the secret. It says, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail, though the blasting in hell, and with a fearful constellation. It says, destruction, woe to the world, and them that dwell therein. For the sword, which is war, violence, and their destruction draweth nigh, 2/3, and the heathens, and one people shall stand up to fight against another. When this place collapses, when society collapses, when there's no food in the storehouses, when there's no food in the house, when the lights go out, it's gonna get real nasty. It's gonna get real dirty. It already get nasty and dirty. And there's food in the storehouses and the lights are on. If you from the hood, then you already know what I'm talking about, right? Those of us that grew up in the slums and the ghettos and the hoods of America, we already had a nice little taste of what that feel like, right? But just imagine when it fully commences. Like there's no turning back. It says, for the sword and their destruction draw nigh. It says, one people should stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there should be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings, that means authorities, nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So if you got some pretty daughters or pretty women, or just women in general in your household or around, or you got some food in your household, you got this in your household, and people find out, they're going to run up in your houses. People are going to be running up in each other's houses, taking commodities, taking resources. That includes women. Women have always been a commodity. Women, food, water, weapons, whatever they can take. This is what the prophecy is talking about. It says, for there should be sedition among men, evading one another. They shall not regard the kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city. Everybody like to travel via plane, car, Uber, taxi, Lyft, however you like to travel. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because everything is going to be closed off. Ain't no running nowhere, going nowhere. Prophecy. It says, for because of their pride, and the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So if the men are going to be bitches in this day, how much more so you women? Because I be looking and listening to these, the women that be like, I'm good, I can handle myself. I don't need no man. I don't need a nigga. F these niggas, F these men, even from the other nations, the heathen women as well. You know, there's this thing here in Babylon and in America where, you know, women, you know, for the most part, about 80, 85, maybe 87% of them got the F men attitude. We're going to see what that attitude or mindset is going to do for you when these prophecies commence. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. And for great, there goes that word or phrase, for great tribulation. And that's what you see. That's where everything is heading up to. Jacob's trouble, great tribulation. We have been warning you people. Yahawah has warned us and showed us. So it's our job to warn you and show you. We wasn't given this knowledge. We wasn't given this anointing to just sit on it, to hold it in. It's in Ezekiel, in Prophet Ezekiel, it says the watchman needs to warn the people. That's the job of a watchman, specifically the house of Israel, the 12 tribes, to warn you to get the blood off our hands. It says, behold, says Yahawah, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me. So there you go. That's who's doing all of this. The big dog. The big dog, man. And I mean that respectfully. Yahawah, the Ancient of Days. That's who's pulling all of the strings. That's who's causing all of this judgment. 2nd Esdras 15, verse 24, it says, destruction. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, said Yahawah. So that's what sin is. 2nd Esdras 15, 24 and 1 John 3, 4. For sin is the transgression of the law. He who commits sin, or she that commits sin, transgresseth also the law. And we know that we don't hang everything on the laws, because Yahawashi did die and shed his blood for the elect, for the remnant. But just because he shed his blood, it doesn't give us the right to just break the commandments. That's the whole point. That's what Christians can't comprehend. That's what Christians can't fathom. You're right. We're not under the law. We're under grace through the blood of Hamashiach, Yahawashi. True indeed. But just because we are drenched and washed in that blood doesn't give us the okay or the cue, the license to sin, to break the commandments. This is what sin is. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not break the Shabbat. Thou shalt not thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not fornicate. Thou shalt not, you know, the commandments, the least of the commandments. But we don't hang we don't hang everything on the laws, because like James said, if you break one, you break them all. So you break one, you break them all. So, you know, this is the full comprehension of the word. Endurance, faith, and works. That's what's going to get you a ticket on the chariot. That's what's going to get you a ticket on the chariot. Works, faith, and endurance. This says, for Yahawah knows all them that sin against him, verse 26, 2nd Esdras 15. It says, and therefore deliver he them unto death and destruction. It says, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and you shall remain in them, for Yahweh shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against him. So yeah, that's what's coming, man. That's what's here. And that's what's coming. 2nd Esdras 16. It says the beginning of sorrows, 2nd Esdras 16, verse 18. And like I said, man, they show you this stuff through the entertainment, but you people just think it's just merely entertainment. You know, I mean, really, Yahweh puts it on these directors and writers to push it through the entertainment. But people just see it as merely entertainment. But all of your post-apocalyptic movies, and those be some of the best movies, right? The best cinema. That'd be some of the best cinema. Post-apocalyptic movies where everything, you know, when shit hits the fan, when the gloves are off, when there's all out turmoil and chaos, you know, Independence Day, the Book of Eli, The Road, Leave the World Behind, I Am Legend, all of these post-apocalyptic movies. That's coming to life. That's coming to life. Get ready for it. 2nd Esdras 16, because it's prophecy. Death, taxes, and prophecy. This is that's if you're alive. If you're alive, is by the time of these prophecies, you're gonna be in it. That's just what it is. 2nd Esdras 16:18. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and the great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine, plagues, tribulation. There goes that word again. Jacob's trouble, great tribulation, mark of the beast, famines, wars, violence, sedition among men, cities blocked off, turmoil. And I can just hear I can just hear women screaming already. You know they're emotional as hell. I can just hear the screaming and hollering and the man trying to think. You see it in the movies. I could picture. I could just see it, man. I could picture the damn kids crying and screaming and not listening, and I can picture these idiots, damn thugs. Well, it's all judgment from the Lord, so I guess I can't be too mad, right? I can see these damn idiots, these damn thugs running into people's houses, snatching goods, snatching resources, until they run into the wrong house and then get blew down for playing games, right? I can see it, man. You can just see what the Bible speaks of. You know, the Bible is rated R. The Bible is rated RR. The Bible is not PG. The Bible is rated RR. RR. Demons, angels, war, sneakiness, deceiving people, liars. The Bible is rated RR. Man, when you go into all of the stories and life accounts and all of the stuff that happened with the Israelites, with our people, it's a rated R plus rated R ordeal. It's not rose. I mean, it has roses and flowers and candies and gummy bears and that and peace. Don't get it twisted. The left hand side, the right hand side, balance for a false balance is an abomination unto Yahweh. But for the most part, man, is that role. There you go, the spirit. Thank you, Rakak Kadash. The spirit, just the roll. You got to eat the whole roll, man. You got the bitterness of the roll, and then you got the sweetness of the roll. Yahawahs being hated and envied, and these bastards giving them up to some other bastards, damn Edomites. They crucified them, and I think the Bible is rated RR. It's dirty. And a real prophet would know that. A real servant, a real man of Yahweh would know that. But like I said, it does have the flowers, the roses, the teddy bears and chocolates, and the heavenly music, the sweet part of the roll, right? But right now we're in the bitter part of the roll. We're in the bitter part of the roll. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness. Even when Yahweh brings the famine, 2 Ezra 16:19 says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation, anguish are sent as scourges, judgment for amendment of what? Sins. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful of the judgments. It says, behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they should think themselves to be in good case. Even then shall evils grow upon earth. So we got more evils upon more evils upon more evils, which is all judgment. It says sword, wars, famine, and confusion. It's definitely great confusion. Definitely here in Babylon. You got men wanting to be women, women wanting to be men. Pedophilia, blood sacrificing, all type of abominable things here in this kingdom, man. Great confusion. Great confusion. A lot of great confusion, man. That's why Yahweh got to come and eradicate these damn devils. That's you Israelites, you heathens. I go for all of you devils. It says, for many of them dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. So a lot of people are going to die by famine. It says, for many of them that dwell on the earth shall perish of famine. That's one of the worst ways to die. That's how rated R the Bible is. That's how rated R Yahweh is, or who you call God is. That's how rated R he is. He want most of you people that dwell on this earth to die of famine. And that's the worst way to die. You would rather, I mean, drowning is bad too. Drowning alive and being set on fire while alive is bad too. But compared to famine, compared to starving to death, you would rather take drowning alive and being set on fire than starving to death. That's the worst way to die. It says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. And the reason being is because the body, when you fast, the body eats itself. That's why you have a thing called autophagy. The body eats up all of the disease and bad cells, and it replenishes and refurbishes the body, the cells. Autophagy, self-eating, self-cleansing. But when you're in the midst of famine, once the body eats up all of the BS, the bull crap, what else do you think is going to start eating? You, the good parts. And that's what happens during famine. Your body eats itself from within. From within. It says, and the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword, war, destroy. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as shit, dung. And the dead shall be cast out as dung. That's manure, shit. It says, and there shall be no man to comfort them. It's going to be a lot of death. It says, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. And this is Hollywood can't even come up with Hollywood can't even come up with the movie as good as this movie. That's how good this movie is that Yahawah has put forth. It says there should be it says, and the cities shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. You know, when you see all of my my Hispanic brothers and sisters and doing the landscaping, you know, my Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and you mainly see the Mexicans doing all of the landscaping. You know, there ain't gonna be nobody out there landscaping. It says, there shall no man be left to till the earth to sow it. It says, the trees shall give fruit, and there should be, it says, the trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? It says, the grapes shall ripe, and who shall tread them? It says, for all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. So a time that's coming on the earth, which is great tribulation, Jacob's trouble, it's going to be so bad to where everybody is going to be basically dead. And men, humans, are going to desire to hear other humans' voices. That means a lot of people is going to be dead. It says, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice, his or her voice for that matter. It says, for a city there shall be 10 left in a city, in the whole city 10 shall be left in the whole city. It says, and 2 of the field which shall hide themselves in the thick of the groves and in the clefts of the rocks, the mountains. As in the orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. It says, even so in those days there should be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. That's the sedition among men. You know, it's going to be, you're going to have different factions out here. Nobody is going to give a damn about the police and all the rest of the police, the alphabets, your governors, politicians, none of them, man. When shit hits the fan, when society collapses, those people are going to be trying to lead and protect and help their families and their loved ones, because it's going to be a dog eat dog world out here, to the bone, to the very bone. It's going to be a time like no time ever has been upon earth. It says, even so in those days there should be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. So you're going to have these different factions. You've seen Purge. You know, everybody got their different factions, different cliques, running up into people's cribs, snatching whatever they want to snatch out. You know, it's going to get dirty, man. It's going to get nasty out here, man. It's going to get nasty, real nasty out here. It says, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travail therethrough. No landscaping. So the earth is going to replenish. It's going to overgrow. You know, when you leave the bag, like summertime, when you don't cut the grass or trim the vines, you see how nature overgrows, starts to grow everywhere. And the only reason why the cities and the land is going to look like that, because everybody is going to be just about dead. That's the point of this of these verses in this chapter. It says the virgins, that means women, virgin women. It says the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Why? Because all of the men are going off to war. You know, for the most part, the men are going to be going off to war. You already seen they push the age limit, I believe, up to 42. So men are going to be sent off to the wars, and then it's just going to be wars within the inner cities, within the inner cities. It's going to be wars. I told you it's going to be different cliques and factions. It says, the virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms, the women shall mourn having no husbands, their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. And the wars, bing, ding, 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 shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, judgment, and their husbands shall perish of famine. It's not going to be any foods in the cities once everything commences. Hear now these things and understand them, you servants of the Lord. And that's who we are. We try to do that, be that to the best of our abilities. We're not perfect. We're humans. We're in this flesh. But we got to be those men and women, right? It says, behold, the word of Yahweh, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spoke. It says, behold, the plagues draw nigh. You see the energy crisis. You see Cuba, Havana, Cuba is in darkness. That whole island is in darkness. Energy crisis. You see the farmers. They're complaining about certain resources not being met and running out of certain resources. These are plagues. And then it says the pestilences. He's going to bring the pestilences. So eventually some new disease or virus is going to kick in and manifest, right? Because prophecy, no one can stop prophecy. It says, as when a woman with child is in the 9th month, bring forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. It says, which pains when the child comes forth, they slack not a moment. So that's how this time is going to be. Jacob's trouble, Israel's trouble, great tribulation, mark of the beast. It says, even so shall the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, shall not be slack. So this is rapid fire. Yahweh is going to make these prophecies rapid fire. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. It says, O my people, which is the elect of the Israelites, hear my word. And to those heathens, I believe to the heathens that cleave, unto Israel, they're going to be worthy as well. I believe the heathens that cleave to the house of Israel, they're going to be, I don't know about those that's in America, but those that's, around the, because America is going to be set ablaze. And the only way out of here is through the chariots. But for the rest of the heathens around the 4 corners of the earth, those that cleave, I believe they are going to be saved they're going to be salvaged for servitude, captivity. They're going to be salvaged as the prophecy states. Those that cleave. and then, as they cleave, they're going to be, basically proselytes, salvaged proselytes. Because they're going to, eventually, man, when the kingdom is established, we're going to show all of these heathens how to live righteously. That's the whole point of God's children, of the Israelites, is for us to come back to our rightful, regal, royal position so we can be a light unto the heathens. And that's what we're going to be doing in the kingdom of heaven. But you heathens are going to be in servitude. You're going to be in captivity. You're going to be salvaged. You're going to build up the kingdom. 1,000 years. Reign, 1,000-year reign. But yeah, man, because we had different accounts, man. You had different accounts when the Israelites went to different regions. For one account is the spy. When the Israelite spies spied on the land, the heathen woman was salvaged for informing the Israelite spies about what was going to take place, what was happening. She was salvaged. And then you got other examples of heathens being proselytized, made proselytes, adopted the faith, etc., etc. But that's just me speaking as a man, as a man. But I do believe certain heathens that believe around the four corners are going to be salvaged. You know, they're going to cleave to the house of Israel. They're going to cleave to the house of Judah. All right, reading right along. It says, "O my people," who is Yahweh's people, the Israelites, "hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that sells, let him be as he that flees away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupy merchandise as that one that had no profit by it." So that's pretty much the point, man. You pretty much get the point. And just to put it all in perspective, who's doing this, right? I want to keep touching on that. Who's doing this? I'm going to bring out Revelations 3:10. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, and the elect, the remnant, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation, which is the mark of the beast, great tribulation, Jacob's trouble, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." The elect, the remnant, we're going to be saved. Yahweh willing, we be a part of that number. We be those men and women for that matter. But Jeremiah 36:7, it says, "Ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. At last, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's, Israel's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Who's the he? The he is the elect, the remnant. All right, chat says, "It's painting a picture of extreme fear and pain. Men are shown acting like women in labor. Not literally, but meaning the distress will be that intense." It says, "That day is great, a time of massive trouble and chaos, unlike anything that has ever touched the earth." The time of Jacob's trouble refers to the descendants of Jacob, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians. But this is judgment for the 2/3, and it's going to be persecution. It's ultimately it's judgment for the 2/3 and the heathens. But some of us are going to be persecuted. Oh well, let's just get it over with. Some people lots. There's going to be persecution, going to be beheaded. The guillotines. However, Yahweh has your story, your lot. It's just what it's going to be. Just know though, as soon as you die, man, you come right back. You come right back. Daniel 12:1. It says, "And at that time shall Michael, the archangel, stand up, the great prince, which stand for the children of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." So yeah, but just to put it all in perspective, who's bringing this time, man? Who's bringing this upon the earth? It's Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the 12 royal regal sons scattered abroad. Well, their descendants scattered abroad. It says Isaiah 45:7, "Yahweh forms the light and creates darkness. Yahweh makes peace and creates evil. Yahweh, the Lord, does all these things." That's just to give you perspective on why Jacob's trouble and great tribulation and the mark of the beast, why these things are about to take place, because Yahweh is allowing it. Yahweh is orchestrating it through the works of men. That's how you keep it all in perspective. Let's keep it in perspective. Deuteronomy 32:13 39. See now that Yahawah, even Yahawah am he. And it says I, but it's Yahawah. There is no power, God, with me. I, Yahawah, kill. What is the time of Jacob's trouble? What is the time of great tribulation? The mark of the beast. That's a time of wounding and killing. Who is bringing that? Yahawah. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any soul that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, and that's what this time is a time of judgment. I will render vengeance to my enemies, the heathens, those that have taken crafty counsel against his people, and the movers and shakers of society. Psalms 83, 1-6. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel, Jacob, may be no more in remembrance. You are his enemies, and chiefly the antagonist himself. You should know who the antagonist himself is. The antagonist of the whole movie. Oh, Mr. Esau. It says, if I whet my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies and will reward them that hate me. So that's really what Jacob's trouble. I mean, it's Jacob's trouble, but all of the nations are going to get judged, man. Everybody's going to be judged. If you're wicked and you're not according to the knowledge, you're not the. Let me just boil it down to this: if you're not of the elect, you're going to be getting judged. Just what it is, man. If you're not of the elect, you're going to be judged. That's just what it boils down to. And I gave you the perspective scrolls. It's Yahawah that's bringing this stuff on the earth. Because Christians, they love to give all the glory to Satan and to the demons. It's the demons, it's Satan. Yeah, they're carrying out the orders, but ultimately it's Yahawah, the Ancient of Days. He's the Godfather. He's the Don Corleone. He's calls the shots. I mean, there's many accounts in the Bible that makes this accurate. Many accounts. So that's how you keep things in perspective. When you see people getting blown up, shot up, wounded, killed, hurt, pestilence, babies dying, women dying, men dying, people stabbed, shot, killed, stolen. You see all of the evils, famine, starving. Keep it in perspective. It is Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahushai, who's judging. And that's what the prophets, that's what we're going to do in the times of trouble. We're going to keep everything in perspective. Because we know who's doing what and who's making this stuff, making these prophecies, be what they're going to be. I wanted Proverbs. I'm going to end it with Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 22 on down. Proverbs chapter 1, 22 on down, it says, how long, you simple ones, 2/3. Those are the simple ones, the 2/3 of the house of Judah and the house of Israel. And those are the simple ones. It says, will you love simplicity? It says, in the scorners delight, scorners, mockers, delight in their scorning. It says, and fools hate knowledge. The fools are those that don't take heed to this word. It says, turn you at my reproof. It says, behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. How does he pour out his spirit? Through the prophets, through the teachers, through the apostles, via methods like this, digital epistles, word to mouth, social media, or when you see the brothers on the highways and hedges. It says, because I have called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regardeth, but you have set at naught all my counsel and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. Look at that. So does Yahawah they say, does God must have a sense of humor? They say God must have a sense of humor. Well, he does. He created man and gave them a sense of humor. And he has a sense of humor because he says he's going to laugh. It says Proverbs 126, I also will laugh at your calamity. All of you hard-headed. And you see this too. Parents, grandparents, when they warn the children or the child not to do something, and the child or the children end up doing it, and they get burned or get pinched or hurt themselves a little bit, you know, your grandmama might chuckle, your granddaddy might chuckle, or the dad might chuckle, or the mama might chuckle and laugh and be like, I told you not to do it in the first place, or yada, yada, blaza, blaza. It's the same exact way. Proverbs 126, I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear comes. When your fear comes as a desolation and your destruction comes as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For they that hated knowledge, man, skip that God. Man, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Man, y'all niggas this. All the scoffers and the mockers. His name not Yahweh. It ain't no Paleo Hebrew. Man, Yahawahs don't exist. Nigga, God don't exist. All the scoffers and the mockers. It says, when your fear comes as desolation and your destruction comes as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For they that hated knowledge, scoffers, mockers, those that don't listen, those that don't want to change their ways or not trying to. I mean, Yahweh knows everything, man. The very hairs on your head are numbered. He knows everything. It says, for they that hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. And see, that's our treasure. That's our treasure. And it says that the fear of the Lord is his treasure. That's what the elect, the remnant has. We had the fear of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. It says, they would none of my counsel, they despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkens, listens, have an ear, unto me shall dwell safely. And we're going to dwell safely in the time of great tribulation, Jacob's trouble, mark of the beast. You gotta believe it. You gotta believe it. My money don't do. Well, it's better believe it. You better believe it. You better believe it. You better believe it. No, you know the song. I think that's Lil Boosie, right? You gotta believe it. You better believe it, man. But whoso hearken unto me, to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from the fear of evil. Because who is the one that's causing the evil in the first place? I just put it in perspective multiple times. It is Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. So with that, I hope you guys were, guys and gals were edified, and you agents. I hope you agents and you Israelites were edified, and you heathens. Because you got heathens and Gentiles out here that know what's going on, that see what's up, that understands, that comprehends, and that understands just as much as the prophets. So I hope you were edified, and I hope this is a wake-up call for the Israelites, because it don't get better. It don't get better. Barakatah Yahweh, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, all glory to Yahweh, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, and a Slach, and Abad, Babal, Abad, Babal. Abide Babal. Abide Babal. This place is full of confusion. Full of confusion, man. They got to go back to the ancient way. And that's when Yahawah is going to bring the kingdom of heaven on the earth, restoration. And that's going to be the ancient way. The kingdom of heaven, the ancient way. We need it. I get tired of waking up seeing these sodomites. I get tired of waking up seeing these women having authority over men. I get tired of waking up seeing chemtrails and tasting fluoride and eating GMOs and pesticides. I get tired of pharmaceuticals, even though I don't take none of that crap. I only take Yahawah's herbs. But I get tired of seeing my people taking it and listening to these damn drug dealers, pharmaceuticals. I get tired of Babylon. Just what it is. Shalom.